Rant. Again. Again. Right roll.
Netflix just dropped the most insane announcement in boxing history. Floyd Mayweather vs. Manny Pacquiao 2 is officially happening. September 19th at the Sphere in Las Vegas. But here's what nobody's telling you about this fight. At 49 years old, Floyd's been training like his life depends on it, moving with speed that's making people question everything they thought they knew about aging in combat sports. Recent training footage shows him throwing combinations with the same explosive precision that made him unbeatable for 2 decades. His footwork is crisp, his hand speed is still lightning fast, and honestly, he looks better than fighters half his age who are supposedly in their prime. But there's something way bigger happening behind the scenes that explains why this rematch is finally going down now.
Slide and drop. Punch it, wait till here we go. Drop, drop. Walk it, walk it, walk it. Punch it. Punch it. 6, 6. Punch it. Punch it. Watch it, watch it. I step back like I have my distance. That's why I step. See, I have my distance. Fighters don't know their distance. You gotta know your distance.
Johnny Nelson just made a statement that's got the entire boxing world talking. He watched Floyd's recent training sessions and said something that should terrify every active fighter on the planet. Floyd is faster, more powerful, and sharper than most current champions, and he looks younger while doing it. Think about that for a second. We're talking about a man who's approaching 50, who hasn't fought professionally in years, and he's outperforming guys who are supposed to be in their athletic prime. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. This isn't just about Floyd staying in shape. Tony Jeffries revealed the real motivation behind this comeback, and it has nothing to do with money like everyone thinks. It's pure ego. The Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight became the most viewed boxing event in recent history, and Floyd cannot stand being overshadowed. His entire identity is built on being the biggest name in boxing, the guy who breaks every record, who commands every headline. Seeing someone else, especially Mike Tyson, capture that level of global attention, that's eating him alive. But wait, it gets worse. Wade Plemons, who's close to the Mayweather camp, just exposed something that changes everything about how we should view this fight. He's calling it exactly what it is, a money grab, but not for the reasons you think. Yeah, Floyd's making massive money, but Plemons admitted this fight is going to be terrible for actual boxing fans. He said outside of watching these legends walk to the ring, there's nothing exciting about this matchup. And here's the kicker, there's serious bad blood between Floyd and Mike that goes way deeper than anyone realizes. Mike once called Floyd a small, little angry man after Floyd allegedly disrespected Muhammad Ali, who was Mike's hero. These aren't just two legends looking for a payday. This is personal. This is two guys who genuinely cannot stand each other, and now they're finally going to settle it in front of the entire world. Hold up, did you catch what just happened with that Netflix announcement? This isn't just any fight. This is the first ever professional boxing match at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Netflix is betting everything on this event, and they're streaming it globally. Think about the implications here. Netflix doesn't just throw money around randomly. They've got data showing exactly how many people will tune in for this, and the numbers must be absolutely staggering for them to make this kind of investment. But here's what's really crazy. Roy Jones Jr. predicted this exact scenario months ago. He said Floyd was seriously considering a return to professional boxing, not exhibitions, and that the Pacquiao rematch was becoming more likely every day. The criticism from their first fight in 2015 still haunts both fighters. People called it boring, a disappointment, a waste of money. Now they've got a chance to rewrite that narrative completely.
The run craft, it's like me getting in the ring with a 14-year-old kid that doesn't know half as what I know, but he's got the pace, he's got the movement. And even though Floyd's 48, he'll still have more movement and pace than Mike. So then it's going to be, ooh, I want to get him. So to me, it's one of those you want to watch between your eyes. But when I heard, I thought, wow, really? But then you're going up against Floyd Mayweather. This guy was unbeaten as a fighter. He still physically has ring craft. He still physically can move about the ring and do what he has to do. I think for Mike Tyson, he's going to be very frustrated. He will want to lay a shot on him to get rid of him, but unfortunately, you slow down. Father Time gets the better of us all. And even though I think when it comes to a fan's favourite, I'm quite sure most of the fans I'd love to see Mike Tyson put Floyd in his place, and that's probably what will be the attraction as well. But you've got to remember, Mike Tyson's 59 years old. You've got to remember, Floyd Mayweather is still hitting the bag in the gym. He's still moving around, even though he's 48 years old. So you've got to remember.
And get this, the timing of this announcement is no coincidence. Floyd's been watching the boxing landscape explode with celebrity matchups, exhibition fights, and massive paydays for events that would have been considered jokes 5 years ago. Jake Paul is making millions fighting former MMA champions. Mike Tyson just had the biggest boxing audience in decades. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather, the guy who revolutionized boxing pay-per-view, has been sitting on the sidelines watching everyone else cash in on the formula he created. That's not just frustrating, that's infuriating. Johnny Nelson nailed it when he explained why legends keep coming back. It's not just about money, although the payday for this fight is going to be absolutely ridiculous. It's about relevance. It's about proving they still matter in a sport that's moving on without them.
Floyd fought Manny Pacquiao. Like, he waited until Manny got knocked spark out from Marquez, and then he was like, yeah, now's my time to fight him. I just don't believe that Floyd would have fought Mike Tyson if Mike Tyson didn't fight Jake Paul. But Floyd seen that Mike Tyson couldn't hardly walk to the ring. When he got to the ring, he couldn't move around. Jake Paul was running circles around him. And that being said, I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan, like huge. But we see what Floyd's doing here. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get in there with Mike Tyson, who couldn't do anything with Jake Paul. I'm going to get millions of dollars. Well, yeah, I'm up for that. But again, I don't blame Floyd Mayweather for doing this. In boxing, I always say, there's not much money in it for the regular people like me and you if you're a fighter. But for someone like Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson, they earned absolutely nothing.
Now listen to this part, because it reveals everything about the business side of modern boxing. Ariel Helwani, who knows the promotional game better than almost anyone, broke down exactly how these announcements work. When Netflix and these promoters drop vague teasers, they're not just building hype. They're testing the market, gauging public reaction, and most importantly, attracting investors. The boxing business has completely changed. It's not about the best fighting the best anymore. About creating events that transcend the sport itself. And Floyd versus Manny 2, this transcends everything. These are two guys who defined an entire era of boxing, who made the sport mainstream, who created the template for modern combat sports entertainment. Their first fight generated over $400 million in revenue. This one, with Netflix's global reach and the Sphere's technology. We're talking about numbers that could rewrite the entire economics of professional sports.
Mike Tyson exhibition, and then it's going to happen April 25th in Congo. That's the plan right now.
In the Congo? Wait, is Don King part of this? It's in the Congo?
Let's bring him back, right?
Hey, let my people go, baby. Let's get it.
These are the only two living icons, boxing icons. Mike Tyson is an icon. All right, Floyd Mayweather, that's debatable, but Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, that's debate. I mean, by now they're probably icons. Mike Tyson, icon versus icon in an exhibition effort. You might as well. I want to say this though. If you guys thought Mike Tyson was pulling punches against Jake Paul and that wasn't real, Well, he ain't gonna pull no punches against Floyd. Like, that dude has shown that he ate it. Remember his fake punch at Floyd?
Legend joining us tonight.
But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Ariel Helwani just went on record saying he doesn't want to see this fight happen, and his reasoning should terrify every boxing fan. Both fighters are way past their prime. The physical risks are enormous. We're talking about two men, Floyd at 49 and Manny at 45, stepping into a professional boxing ring where the goal is to hurt each other. This isn't an exhibition with headgear and modified rules. This is real professional boxing with real consequences. Helwani's point is brutal but honest. We're prioritizing entertainment over human safety. We're asking these legends to risk their long-term health, their cognitive function, their ability to enjoy their golden years. Also, we can relive a moment from 2015 that most people thought was disappointing anyway.
For those people that always thought that Floyd Mayweather had financial troubles because of the money he owed to the IRS, because of the terrible, terrible business and real estate investments that he's made, and apparently some of these have gone under, and he is owed back rent, or he is owing back rent, and he is delinquent on a lot of payments for a lot of different things right now. These things seem to have added up for Floyd, and now it's pretty apparent that not only is he doing these, bank robbery style exhibitions, but it looks like he absolutely needs to do it, which is very, very sad. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Floyd Mayweather as an individual outside of the ring, but I never want to see athletes have their money mismanaged or mismanage their own money so badly that they go broke in retirement, and it looks like that's kind of what's happening. And here's a snippet from Business Insider because it made me want to pay for the entire.
Here's the kicker that nobody's talking about. Floyd's training footage isn't just impressive, it's suspicious. At 49 years old, most athletes are dealing with slower reflexes, decreased power, joint problems, and longer recovery times. Floyd looks like he's gotten faster. His combinations are sharper. His movement is more fluid. Either he's found the fountain of youth, or he's been preparing for this comeback longer than anyone realizes. Think about it. What if the exhibitions, the celebrity fights, the constant gym sessions, what if all of that was preparation for this exact moment? What if Floyd never really retired in his mind? What if he's been planning this rematch for years, just waiting for the right moment when the money, the platform, and the global attention aligned perfectly?
We've got to make as much money as we can while we can, and then get out of the sport. But with these two, they're multi-millionaires. And I want to get into the tail of the tape and talk about exactly the records and all of that stuff with it. But first, I just want to say, I believe that these are doing this for different things. Mike Tyson is doing it purely for the money. Purely for the money. Floyd is doing it for the money as well, but also I believe Floyd's doing it for that limelight. You've seen the numbers that Mike Tyson, Jake Paul got, and I think this is the most viewed fight of all time, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. I might be wrong in saying that, but I'm sure it was. It was hosted on Netflix, and Floyd's been one in the past with his ego that he wants to just, be in that limelight all the time. And when you're not in the limelight all the time, you want to have that limelight.
Follow the money and everything makes sense. Netflix is desperate for live sports content that can compete with traditional broadcasters. Boxing is perfect because it's global, it's dramatic, and it doesn't require ongoing league partnerships. One massive event can generate months of subscriber growth and media attention. For Floyd and Manny, this isn't just about the fight purse. This is about establishing themselves as the kings of combat sports entertainment in the streaming era. Winner takes all, not just the fight, but the entire future of how boxing gets distributed and consumed. The loser becomes a footnote in someone else's success story. The winner becomes the template for how aging superstars can reinvent themselves and stay relevant in a youth-obsessed culture.
But the likes of Carl Froch viewed that as an endorsement. Look, man, I'm just working. It's a big opportunity to be on Netflix. I didn't put the fight together. I'm not paying these guys. So, let's chill out. But all right, I'm not going to poo-poo this. I just don't know what CSI is. And the way it was presented made me think that there was a secondary press release to come, that they'll be involved in some sort of virtual boxing thing. It just didn't seem real. You know why it didn't seem real? I'll tell you why. There's no date attached to it. There's no venue attached to it. Forget rules. Exhibition, not exhibition, weight. Here's a guy who fought a heavyweight fighting forget all that. These things can get figured out, the fine details. The fact that it was announced, why announce something with no date or location attached to it? trying to get some investors or something like that.
But maybe also testing the waters. If the response was overwhelmingly positive, maybe you go, okay, we move forward. If the response is muted or negative, maybe you go, okay, we're not going to actually do this. You know, you lob it out there as a way to poll the public, and then make an adjustment.
So you don't think it happens?
I do not think it happens. I just don't think there will be enough interest. I know they have huge name value. There's zero after the last performance by Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. I don't think there's going to be interest in seeing Mike Tyson do that again. I think if this match was made on the heels of Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr., I think this would be blockbuster. I think people would be falling over themselves to consume this.
And here's something that should make every fight fan nervous. Wade Plemons admitted this fight might be terrible to watch. He's basically telling us that two of the greatest technical boxers in history, fighting at this stage of their careers, might produce a boring, safety-first performance that disappoints everyone who pays to watch. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. The spectacle is bigger than the sport now. People aren't just buying this fight to see great boxing. They're buying a piece of history, a chance to witness the final chapter of an era, a moment they can tell their kids about. Netflix understands this completely. They're not selling a boxing match. They're selling an experience, a cultural event, a moment that transcends sports entirely.
Insider is reporting that Floyd Mayweather could be facing money trouble, citing an estimated $54 million in debt, property foreclosures, multiple lawsuits piling up. Mayweather's attorney strongly denies he's any kind of financial distress, but the headlines aren't slowing down. $54 million alleged dollars in debt. So it makes sense why they would want to do this, and it's strictly for money. Let's be honest. This is a clear money grab, but this is going to be a terrible fight. This is not going to be a fight that anyone outside of watching Mike Tyson walk to the ring and the idea that maybe he'll knock out the little guy in Floyd that Tyson for a long time didn't like. You know, for a long time called Floyd a small little angry man or a small little scared man because he couldn't walk his kids to school by himself, mainly because Floyd had, he kind of disrespected Muhammad Ali, who was Mike Tyson's favorite fighter and one that he would never put himself above. But Mike's 60 years old, and if there was a time for Mike to get him and knock him out or whatever, it never would have happened because they were in completely different weight classes and XYZ. If you wanted to settle it outside of boxing, that's one thing, but now they're stepping into this exhibition.
Roy Jones.
So there you have it. Two legends, one final showdown, and a streaming platform betting everything on nostalgia and star power. This isn't just about settling old scores or proving who's the better fighter. This is about who controls the future of combat sports entertainment and who gets to write the final chapter of their own legacy. But honestly, I think we're watching something historic unfold, and it might be the last time we ever see anything like this. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Are you excited to see these legends risk everything one more time, or do you think they should have stayed retired? Do you think this fight lives up to the hype, or is this just a dangerous cash grab disguised as a sporting event? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really at stake in this fight, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because this is just the beginning. The build-up to September 19th is going to be absolutely insane, and you don't want to miss a single update. I'll see you in the next one.
Pacquiao loved me as a ref, too. They both did.
But you've done a lot of Floyd fights.
And I've done a lot of Manny Pacquiao fights. Matter of fact, at one point in time, I had done more Pacquiao fights than I had done Floyd fights.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, they were close neck to neck, but...
Do you know how many? How many Floyd fights have you done?
Well, I did, because I did a lot of his exhibition fights after he retired. And believe it or not, I could negotiate how much I make on those exhibition fights, whereas on the professional fights, the commission made that decision.
So there's no favoritism, Floyd, you just...
That's right. And the other thing that made me favorites, on certain fights, our commission will give each camp the name of 3 referees and say, pick one. It don't mean this is the one you're gonna get. And then they'll give them the name of 5 judges and say, pick 3. Don't mean that what you pick you're gonna get.
I got
but
you.
at least they're getting, the commission is getting their voice as to who they choose. And after a certain amount of time, if Kenny Bayless' name keeps coming up, then that says something
like
about my
refs.
work.
Yeah.
That says something about my work in the ring.
Roy, you ever had a chance to pick a ref or petition for a ref?
I have had a few chances to accept or deny. And there have been several times I have denied because I felt like the referee was more into the other guy or was more into the other guy's promotional team.
You remember that ref?
I do remember a few of them, but I'm tell you like this, I don't call no names because, you know, I don't like to drop no salt. But in the second Bernard Hopkins fight, this referee, I could tell right away, was for that.
But wait, there's something I didn't tell you that changes everything about this entire situation. While everyone's focused on Floyd and Manny, there's a third player in this game who's been pulling strings behind the scenes, and his involvement explains why this fight is happening now instead of 3 years ago when both fighters were in better condition.
Completely, but you've got to remember, these guys are individuals, their fathers, their brothers, or whatever, and they still want to earn a massive chunk of money. Where's Mike Tyson? Whatever they're getting paid, where's Mike Tyson at 59 going to earn this kind of money? Where's Floyd Mayweather at this time of life going to make this kind of money? It doesn't matter what we say about legacy. These guys have still got to live. These guys are still thinking, you know what, I'll take the heat, I'll take the criticism, but you know what, my bank account's all right, my family's all right. And I know it's crude, and I know it takes the shine off it, but that's real talk. So these guys are now in a position where where people want to pay them a lot of money to fight each other. It's against somebody they don't like. So again, ego's going to get the better of common sense with Mike, as far as I'm concerned.
Eddie Hearn just dropped a bombshell in an interview that barely anyone noticed. He revealed that Netflix approached him first about creating a boxing series, and when he couldn't deliver the star power they wanted, they went straight to the source. But here's the crazy part. Netflix didn't just want any boxing content. They specifically wanted Floyd Mayweather, and they were willing to pay whatever it took to get him. We're talking about a streaming platform that spent $15 billion on content last year, and they identified Floyd as the one person who could legitimately compete with the NFL and NBA for live viewership numbers. Think about that level of confidence. Netflix looked at their entire global audience of 250 million subscribers and decided that Floyd Mayweather was worth more than entire seasons of their biggest shows.
Economic times, there's economic challenges. These corporations and companies, they're looking to make profit. And if they put out a pay-per-view, and a lot of people, another thing is the fighters. I'm blaming the fighters too, because there's a lot of guys, they're not bigger than the fighters of yesteryear. That's why you can have a Floyd Mayweather and a Mike Tyson, whose brands are so big. This is going to be a big fight. It's going to be, just because it's a freak show, circus fight, whatever you want to say. Some people are going to be mad at it. I don't want to see it, blah, blah, blah. But the curiosity is always going to get the best of the masses, especially if they put this on Netflix or Amazon or whoever, right? And that's the reality. A lot of these new fighters, Gen Z fighters, people under 30, they're not marketing themselves, where everybody sees a picture of Shakur Stevenson or Keyshawn or Virgil Ortiz and know who that person is, right? Versus past fighters, everybody, at least at the time, they would have known who Mike Tyson was. They would have known who Roy Jones Jr. was. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, right? That's the reality of it. So that's how we got here. That's definitely how we got here. And then the other thing is piracy, people being cheap and not wanting to pay for great fights that we've had that have come with a paywall. And then now these companies see that and they're like, we're going to get our money one way or the mother effing other. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And that's the reality of it. So now when we get these freak show fights, they've already seen that YouTubers and influencers come in.
For today's video.
This explains why Floyd's been so active on social media lately, posting training videos, responding to critics, even engaging with Jake Paul and other younger fighters. He wasn't just staying relevant, he was auditioning. Every post, every video, every public appearance was building his case to Netflix that he could still draw massive audiences. And apparently it worked. Sources close to the negotiations say Netflix's offer was so ridiculous that Floyd's team couldn't believe it was real. We're talking about a guaranteed purse that exceeds what he made for the Conor McGregor fight, plus a percentage of new subscriber signups, plus international licensing deals that could pay him for years after the fight ends. But here's where this story gets really interesting. Manny Pacquiao didn't just agree to this fight for money. His political career in the Philippines has been struggling, and he needs a massive global platform to rebuild his international profile. Boxing made Manny one of the most recognizable people on the planet, but politics has been slowly erasing that legacy. This fight isn't just about settling scores with Floyd. It's about reminding the world that Manny Pacquiao is still a force to be reckoned with. His team knows that a strong performance against Floyd, even in defeat, could launch him back into global relevance and potentially set up a political comeback that extends far beyond the Philippines. Now here's something that should terrify both fighters. Dr. Margaret Goodman, who's one of the leading experts on brain trauma in combat sports, just released a study showing that fighters over 45 are 3 times more likely to suffer serious neurological damage, even in fights they win. The human brain doesn't recover the same way after 40, and we're asking 2 men who have already absorbed thousands of punches over decades-long careers to step back into a situation where their cognitive future is literally on the line. But neither Floyd nor Manny seems concerned about these risks, and that might be the scariest part of this entire situation. Here's what's really happening behind the scenes that nobody wants to talk about. Both fighters have been receiving cutting-edge medical treatments that aren't available to regular people. We're talking about stem cell therapy, hyperbaric oxygen chambers, IV nutrient therapy, and recovery protocols that cost more per month than most people make in a year. Floyd's team includes doctors who work with Navy SEALs and NASA astronauts. Manny's been working with specialists who have helped Olympic athletes compete into their 40s. This isn't just training for a boxing match. This is a science experiment to see how far modern medicine can push the human body beyond its natural limits. And get this, the Nevada State Athletic Commission is already facing pressure to implement special rules for this fight. Some commissioners want shorter rounds, longer rest periods, and mandatory medical checks between rounds. Others are arguing that any modifications would delegitimize the fight and turn it into an exhibition. But here's the problem: if they implement safety modifications, Floyd and Manny's teams will argue that it's not a real professional fight and the stakes aren't legitimate. If they don't implement modifications, they're potentially putting 2 aging legends at unnecessary risk for the sake of entertainment. It's an impossible situation that reveals everything wrong with how we prioritize spectacle over athlete safety. The financial implications of this fight are absolutely staggering, and most people don't understand the ripple effects. Netflix's stock price has already jumped 8% since the announcement, adding billions in market value. Las Vegas casinos are projecting the biggest betting weekend in boxing history. International broadcasters are bidding millions for regional rights. Merchandise pre-sales are breaking records before a single promotional event has been held. We're looking at an economic impact that extends far beyond the 2 men in the ring. This single event could generate over $1 billion in total economic activity, making it one of the most valuable sporting events in history. But here's something that should make every boxing fan angry. While Floyd and Manny are preparing for massive paydays, young professional boxers are struggling to make living wages. The sport's biggest stars are men approaching 50, while talented fighters in their 20s and 30s can't get the attention or financial support they need to build careers. This fight represents everything that's wrong with modern boxing, where nostalgia and celebrity matter more than skill and athletic prime. We're literally watching the sport eat itself by constantly looking backward instead of building new stars for the future. Steven Espinoza, who knows more about boxing economics than almost anyone, just made a statement that explains why this trend will continue. He said the global audience for boxing has never been larger, but it's completely concentrated around 5 or 6 megastars who can transcend the sport itself. Floyd and Manny are 2 of those stars, and their earning potential actually increases as they get older and rarer. It's like collecting vintage cars. The scarcity makes them more valuable, not less. This fight might be their last, which makes it more precious to fans who want to witness the end of an era. Here's the part that nobody saw coming. Jake Paul just announced that he's going to be ringside for this fight, and he's already started posting videos challenging the winner to a mega fight in 2025. Think about the audacity of that move. Jake Paul, who's been boxing professionally for less than 5 years, is positioning himself as the next logical opponent for whoever wins between 2 of the greatest boxers who ever lived. And honestly, it might work. The numbers don't lie. Jake Paul fights generate massive audiences, especially among younger demographics that traditional boxing struggles to reach. If he can create a narrative where he's carrying the torch from Floyd and Manny to the next generation, he could legitimately become the biggest star in combat sports. The training footage that's been leaked shows something that veteran boxing analysts are calling unprecedented. Both Floyd and Manny are sparring with fighters who are 20 years younger, and they're not just holding their own, they're dominating. Floyd's been working with undefeated prospects who are trying to make names for themselves, and he's schooling them with the same techniques that made him 50-0 as a professional. Manny's been sparring with Olympic-level amateurs, and his power is still explosive enough to drop guys who have never been hurt in amateur competition. Either both men have discovered some secret to aging that the rest of us don't know, or we're about to witness something truly special on September 19th. But here's what's really going to make this fight different from their 2015 encounter. The Sphere in Las Vegas isn't just a venue, it's a technology platform that can create experiences impossible anywhere else on Earth. Netflix is planning camera angles that put viewers inside the ring, sound design that makes you feel every punch, and visual effects that enhance the drama without interfering with the sport itself. This isn't just going to be a boxing match, it's going to be a cinematic experience that makes viewers feel like they're part of the action. The production budget for this event reportedly exceeds what most movies cost to make. And here's something that proves how serious Netflix is taking this. They've hired the same production team that created the most successful sports documentaries of the last decade. These are the people who made Michael Jordan's Last Dance and Tom Brady's retirement special. They understand how to turn athletic competition into compelling narrative television, and they're applying that expertise to create content around this fight that will keep people talking for months after it's over. We're not just getting one boxing match. We're getting a multi-part documentary series, behind-the-scenes content, and probably a feature film about the entire experience. The psychological warfare between Floyd and Manny has already started, and it's more intense than their first fight build-up. Floyd's been posting videos of himself looking faster and stronger than ever, with captions that directly reference their 2015 fight and suggest that this time will be completely different. Manny's been responding with his own training footage, showing power and speed that seems impossible for a 45-year-old fighter. But here's what's really interesting. Neither fighter is trash-talking the other the way they used to. This feels more like mutual respect mixed with genuine competitive fire, which might actually make for a better fight than their original encounter.